Welcome back to the Gold League for World of Tanks, and we're about ready to jump into the face-off of Game Over versus the Cazadores. What's the background of both these teams, Raquel?
Well, they're both South American. Game Over, of course, the Portuguese-speaking team, mostly from Brazil, and then Cazadores from a few different countries are the major Spanish-speaking team for all of World of Tanks esports. So this is actually a really big match for them. They both represent South America. We're going to see which one of the two comes out on top. Any guesses, though, for you, Clutch?
Well, Cazadores is a more experienced team when we look at the amount of time they've had in the professional esports world. But Game Over has performed very well at the end of Season 2. They almost made it into the top 8, but got knocked out in the playoffs.
They might have to do the same thing again this season.
With their, what's their record right now?
Game Over's 1-2, and then Cazadores is 1-3.
Oof.
So it's but
so they at least have a win under their belt on both of them.
Exactly.
So there are two teams that no opponent's going to underestimate them, but I find finally the opportunity to have them both go head-to-head to represent.
Yeah, this is a dream.
The South American area of World of Tanks is fantastic. Let's go ahead and hear what they have to say in the face-off of Game Over versus Cazadores. Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey there.
Hi.
All right, guys, are you not pumped for this matchup? Well, now I can't see how pumped you are, but when you come back, we'll see how pumped you guys are for a matchup.
They're still on the call. We'll get that fixed in a sec.
All right, but Kufo, are you excited to be fighting up against another South American team, Game Over, tonight?
Yes, fantastic team, Game Over.
All right, and then Game Over, Gigmaster. How do you feel about this matchup?
That's definitely a good experience.
All right,
I saw you guys. South American team, yeah.
I saw you guys were trash talking a little bit in the chat before game. No? Okay, it was neither of you. It was all your teammates. They had to tell them to be quiet.
Well, they're waiting for the trash talk in person. So, Gigmaster, as a representative of all Portuguese-speaking tankers from around the world, anything you'd like to say to your opponent, the Spanish-speaking Cazadores?
That's going to be a very interesting fight, mainly because Brazilians, it's not used to like Argentinians sometimes, and I know there's some Argentinians there, so it's going to be a very interesting fight because there's a rivalry behind this.
Kufo, tiene algunas palabras. Game Over.
A Game Over lo conocemos hace mucho tiempo, hemos jugado muchos torneos y siempre son batallas muy excitantes, muy peleadas, así que va a ser un gusto pelear contra ellos.
He said they've faced Game Over in lots of different tournaments, and it's always been an exciting matchup, and they're looking forward to it. So, gentlemen, we wish you the best of luck in this. Game Over, you have the higher seed. Heads or tails on the flip?
Tails.
Tails is the call, and the flip is heads. Cazadores, Kikirimapa or defer?
Defer.
Defer. Game Over, map choice.
Ensk.
Ensk will be the first map. Cazadores, north or south?
South.
South for the Cazadores on Ensk. Game Over. We'll take the north. All right, here we go. The Battle of South America. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Here we go. Teams are ready. Players are in. Let's go ahead and get into battle number 1 of match 1 of Game Over versus the Cazadores. And detailing the tanks once again for us, Randall.
Gladly. There's a 110, 250 100s, IS-3. It was Ariador who had disconnected. NIP 100 and a 1390, and 2 T1 Cunninghams. Wow. I'm surprised that we are not seeing Kufo. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong side. Excuse me. Game Over is there. Everyone is just right. Kufo in the T69, as expected. 2 IS-3s and 2 5100s. Now, you should probably follow Kufo. I'm really expecting that mid-spotting right at the beginning, and we'll see if he can spot anything crossing the tracks.
Red teams will be Cazadores. Game Over is in the blue. And the South Cazadores are hitting the east, but so is Game Over. This is a predicting play from
There it
Game
is.
Over.
There's a hit, and a hit under Rafa Beta. Was he even spotted?
Yes, tanking Daka, Rafa Beta, and who's next to them? Mega Monero.
Yeah, Meg.
They were all spotted, and Kufo was able to get the shot in the T69 across the railroad.
Yeah, nice hit onto a 110. That'll even up the health pools a little bit. Actually, it tips the balance in favor of Cazadores, which is very nice because the 110 is the healthiest tank on their team, having 1,550 hit points. Now he's brought down to 1,325, much more manageable, a little bit easier in the brawl to deal with. They can afford to get a bounce next to if you are at full health, much riskier. Oh, big spotting coming out of Gigmaster. He will actually take a hit, gets tracked, but he will go down. They've sacked a T1, and I don't think we're going to see any punishment come out from Game Over quite yet. I see shots fired, but I don't see connections quite yet.
Notice that was a shot from the 5100, not one of the IS-3s.
Ooh,
that may have been a mistake, but Thug's Cry, if he started the reload, would have enough time, hopefully before the engagement happens. Maybe he's going to continue with his 5-shot drum. Kufo really close now to the two
Kufo is
heavy
spotted.
tanks. Shot fired. That one did hit.
Yeah, Rafa taking him down to 1,000 hit points. Really unfortunate play by Kufo. The early hit point lead he got might be lost right there. Actually, I believe it is, because Rafa hits a little bit harder than Kufo. That evens it up, even tips it back towards Game Over, although they are down Gigmaster. And with Gigmaster down, that's a lot of cat pressure that they can't put on, and a T1 v T1 fight is going to be riskier for the remaining T1 Gendorfo.
Eriador in the IS-3 pokes out from the cover. He is seen by Kufo, but Kufo is staying behind the buildings as his teammates are trying to move into another position.
By Nip.
Logos at 1252 out of 1500 falls back in his IS-3. Shots were fired.
Takes the second hit. And that's Nip. Nip
they're
is
not
even
able
spotted.
to, yeah, they're not able to spot anyone in the blue, and they're sending their T1s up to the center.
Ah, interesting. Well, Gendorfo is waiting in the north, and he may be able to ambush them, but I don't think he's going to be able to kill 2 T1 Cunninghams before they can kill him. He can probably only kill the one very quickly, and here they are. Oh, Gendorfo breaks cover just in time, and now the T1s are spotted. Wathai and Jonah too on to cap. Gendorfo is moving, though, and he could actually be fired upon under the train. He will. He catches fire, and he will go down. That is huge. Now there's T1s on cap, but it looks like there's returning tanks. Nip 100 is on the way back, and Mega Monero is able to make a connection.
He had to take 2 hits to take down that
But
T1.
to the south, the brawl is
beginning. The third
beginning.
one kills that one.
Rafa Beta is taken down to 579. Another hit from an IS-3. Logos 243, and Helix will finish him off. This is such a huge split for Game Over. This is not looking good for them in the brawl, as Cazadores look monstrous. They take down 2 tier 8s, not losing a single one yet.
Logos pushes up in the IS-3, takes a bouncing shot, and is going to help Kufo stay alive behind these pipes. He will be the HP sheriff for Helio X as he pushes up in his 5100. Takes a big hit on his front, down to 174. Taking Daka. Takes a big hit in the front, another bounce, but he's down to 154. Another shot, and he falls to Thugs from Thugs
Great
Cry.
health point sharing from the Cazadores. Now there are only 2 tier 8s left. Nip 100 is running away. Mega Monero splitting off to the east, and they don't really have a chance here to draw it out, I think. With 6 minutes left, it's cap or kill. Easy for the Cazadores.
Thugs Cry will be holding the rear of the line as 1 heavy is up to the right at Alpha 0. You have the light on the run, the 1390.
Yep, Nip 100. I don't know what he's going to go for. Maybe he can get some kind of damage, but there will be 2 separate lanes of fire coming from Game Over. Maybe they can make this go to a draw by getting some kills. There are hits onto Mega Monero. 1 more hit will take him down. Huge right there. And now Nip is 1v1ing Kufo. Nip will win, I think. Yes, he does. And actually now there are 3 tier 8s versus 2. And if Nip can get some spotting, Mega Monero can get the hits and possibly the kills necessary to delay this, maybe bring it to a draw or actually win. But Cess will find Nip and takes him down. And there are hits, though, coming out from Mega Monero. They're going to break cap. Logos down to 437. Another hit. Mega Monero could fire through the cover and pen, and he actually fires just around the cover. Takes Logos down to 165. Will he get... Does he even have shells?
Helio X pushing up.
No, he doesn't.
To return fire.
Mega Monero could clutch this. He could legitimately clutch this 1v3. He's at full health. He's got on reload, but he could escape. Takes 1 hit, 2 hits.
That's
3
3.
hits. Ah,
Helio pushing forward to get another shot from behind him, and Mega Monero moving quickly back into cover. Still needs more time to reload, and another tank is on the flag cap. 382 out of 174. Trying to push around. Here comes Logos in the IS-3. Big hit, and the crashing damage. 13 down to 0, and that's it. Cazadores takes battle number 1.
Wow. That was incredibly close. The 5100 maybe 15 seconds away from being reloaded, and he could have done it. He really could have done it if he'd been able to get away.
Tough
but
possibility, though, because of the consistent fire. The IS-3s were very low in health. He did focus on that 5100. If he maybe got one more shot or had another shot in his drum and took him down, might have been a different story. But
or if Nip had gotten away.
That's
if
true.
Nip had stayed safe a little longer, I think we could have seen Heliox actually get the reload in and win that one. Really good play from Game Over. I don't know if that was deliberate to split and then crossfire onto Cap, but Cazadores walked into it and almost lost. This is another situation where they win in the brawl, but the thing is, autoloaders can bring it back like that. 5100 can just nuke 2 tanks if they're low enough. Cazadores, though, great health point sharing when they began that brawl. They didn't lose any tanks unnecessarily. They kept the right tanks alive, and at the end, even though their health pools were all very low, they had 3 tanks, and Heliox wasn't prepared to deal with that. He just couldn't. And because the numbers, they just cut him off, took him down.
I like the double front that they had with their 2 heavy tanks moving ahead, even though one of them was a 5100, and Kufo staying behind in the T-69 at super low health was 1 shot away from dying, but he stayed alive long enough to continue to do damage against the enemy. And that is how you HP share. It's not having 2 tanks right next to each other and getting, I mean, that is one way of getting in front of each other, but it's pushing at the same time and having that dual damage output, so you create a front, and the tanks behind that front can still do damage in a more safe, not in perfectly safe, but a more safe environment.
Yeah, because the thing is, if you're in cover, you're hiding and such, one guy's going to peek out, he'll take fire, and then he backs off. If someone else tries to then come out after someone's backed off, they're going to be the new focus. They're going to take damage, but that's not the best way. If everyone just goes in there, you have the advantage. You can share hit points by taking the damage, denying your opponents the ability to put it out, because 5100, your opponents are going to be on reload because they've wasted all their shells, spread it around. And it's one way to do it, because generally at this high level, when everyone's firing gold, everyone's good enough to make most of their shots count, you're not going to be able to just force those bounces like in pubs.
And they stay together as a team in the Battle Buddy system as well. They're at the end, the IS-3s were sticking with the 5100s. Wait until you have the reload. And once he did, went in for the kill. And it was good. It was good point precision type play. The Cazadores, what I talked about before, when they're spread out, they have difficulty when things don't go their way. But when they are physically closer together as a team, they perform better.
Yeah, especially we know Cess and Logos are 2 famous battle buddies. Cess and Logos are here today. So if we're going to go to a city map, I expect to see those IS-3s together as always for Cazadores. And they always perform exceptionally. But we're going to be going to Cliff next, so I'm expecting to see 1390s and maybe Kufo in a WZ-132. He does that a lot.
These players do have 90 seconds once the map has been chosen to choose their tanks. Many will choose their tanks in the last 10 seconds to keep it a surprise and a mystery for what they're going to select. This pretty much comes down to some variances with these builds, with these choices, with these lineups. However, one of the biggest variances was from last night when Refused to Die chose a very heavy loadout, including a Panther II on Cliff.
Oh yeah, Panther II is a great tank though, because it's great at sniping. You can find charts somewhere on the internet, but I won't tell you where you can actually see the fall off of penetration from certain shells. The Panther II is a high performer in that respect. Its shells perform very well at great ranges. That's an advantage of a lot of German armor. It's a soft stat, as it were. Stuff that you don't get to see on paper in-game, but that just because of Wargaming says historical accuracy, some shells perform different ways. I believe maybe was it the Japanese and Chinese shells have a lot of trouble with penning at long range. I think there's a lot of fall off with that.
Yeah. Well, you guys can check that out online, but of course you can also check out the stats of all these players either online on our website or live in the game. We're able to single them out. Let's jump into battle number 2 on Cliff between Game Over and the Cazadores.
Now as we take a look at the tanks, we see, wow, Game Over's brought 3 T-69s and 2 1390s, 3 T-69s. Really interesting choice there. On the other side, Cazadores with a Pershing and 4 1390s.
Mobility in a hold down versus burst.
Yeah, just that burst though
and
is
mobility.
Really potent. T-69s though, on a map like this, we'll have to see how that goes. It does look like they're going to play it to the west side and just kind of all in that way. Nip 100 got a great jump and will be leading the way up the little ramp out here. Oh, actually, no, he's just going to break on through to the other side. And maybe he'll find a T1. If they get that, that's a nice T1 lead at the very beginning.
CES-28 will discover these tanks moving up. First, the 1390. NIP 100 is spotted.
NIP doesn't spot him in return, though, and he's actually going to back off.
Gigmaster spotted the T1.
But the T-69s are moving up the hill. Rafa Beta with Gendorfo right behind him. And if these T-69s actually need to get to the high ground quickly, because if they don't, they could be pushed down to the low ground, and we could see a situation like we saw the other day. First shot from Rafa does not connect. Second shot connects with Kufo. Kufo misses a shot, but Thug's Cry has hit Rafa Beta once, down to 1079. Cazador, Game Over really needs to get out of this position. They need to push north or south, because if Cazadores just tighten it on them, I don't see this going well. There is the T1 going down, taking Daka, takes him down, and there's some north control. That's a possibility for cap pressure.
The cap pressure will be very effective. Where's the Pershing, though? The Pershing's not in the firefight yet. Helio X could have been mounted further north for a hold-down position against those tanks charging up to the north against the flag cap. Not going to be the case. He's going to get in the firefight, and they're going to need that depression from the Helio X and that gun to get some better shots.
Gendorfo, though, is trading with Jonah. Gendorfo down to 649. Gendorfo has put Jonah down to 865. More shots going out. And now Kufo is in here. Where's that Pershing? Helix seems to be out here.
He's up there. He got hit in the gun, though, and it needs to be repaired.
Ooh,
not sure if he burned a kid or not.
Logos takes a hit from a 1390. Shot streaming over. Gendorfo, I believe, should be on reload. And that could prompt an all-in by Cazadores. But cap has begun, and Wathein is down to NIP 100 in the north. Now, with a single tier 1 on cap, Cazadores need to stop the cap, and they also need to win this fight. Kufo, though, is taking much unnecessary damage, and because of that, he has to take cover. And I expect he may go down soon. We may see an uphill push out of the Game Over team. NIP 100 is caught out far away. He takes a hit from Helix, but tanking Daka is on the way to help out.
Helio X will have another shot as NIP 100 fires on the move. It's a miss. Another big hit from the Pershing. Helio X will arc his turret over to the flag cap. Too far for him to see. They're going to have to move quickly as time is ticking away. The Pershing takes its first hit down 1196, takes another one from the 1390. NIP 100 has probably 2 shots left, hits another one of the Pershing. Logos and Jonah 2 moving around against NIP. NIP could fall back as he has cover from taking Daka, and he does down the hill. But the Pershing takes a big hit against him. Nice fire from Helio X at 85 HP. The all-in could happen from Logos and Jonah.
Logos slides down the hill, looks for a shot, and connects with NIP 100 now, tanking Daka. Will take hits from both Jonah 2 and Logos.
They have to move quickly. 23 seconds left on the flag cap for one tank. And now they get the kill, and they're going to move to the north. However, one of the mediums, 2 of the mediums still alive, the T-69s.
Gendorfo could delay this. 13 seconds left. He puts a hit into Helix. But Jonah 2 is on the way. Jonah 2 taking no hits yet, and he has gone dark. The T1 on cap. Gigmaster needs to juke. 3, 2, 1. Can he dodge this? Base is captured, and he does juke out of the way. Victory, game over in cap. Amazing how they're able to get that done. Right at the beginning of the map, you could see the objective. They're playing the west side. Everyone brings T1s over to the west. At least 1, maybe 2. And because Cazadores brought 2 of them over to the west side, Game Over took them down real fast. But they did lose 1 of them. If they'd actually kept both alive, it would have been a very easy cap win.
T1s, that's why you bring them. Another example of how powerful the T1 Cunninghams can be in 7x42. With that flag cap pressure and continue those engagements, those T-69s and 1390s didn't have to necessarily kill the tanks. They had to stay alive. And because of that, even though it was completely narrow, it was tiny, the window was still open for the flag capture to happen. And it did, which is a victory for Game Over. We're going to take a break. When we come back, battle number 3 of the series for the Battle of South America, Cazadores versus Game Over, and the Wargaming Gold League. Stay tuned. And we did see a T1 take down a Waffentrager in Season 3 so far. That was actually one of the top 5 moments. And we'll see that again during the halftime break. It's been fun playing the Waffentrager. That was actually me playing in my Sheriff account. That's why I have the different type of camouflage, the gold camouflage. And if you do see a WGLNA Pro playing, we'll have a little message that pops up saying, hey, if you take me out on the opposite team, you will get 150 gold. If you team kill me, we will ban your account. Yep. Don't do it. I got hit from behind the last time I played on a Sheriff account by an artillery on my own team, point blank.
Some people don't understand. No TKs.
That hurt. It hurt. It hurt a lot.
Although sometimes it's an accident. I once drove in front of, I was platooning gladly with this person, but I simped a shot. So simping is the term for driving in front of someone's fire and taking their hit. Anyway, it's a weird word. Anyway, but I drove in front of this hit, and he killed me, and he was like, do I get banned for that? But I was like, no, it's okay. It's okay. I'll send
Yeah,
you
there's
support.
situational things.
Yeah, but I had to send a support
and
ticket
one
for him.
WZ-132 is coming towards me, and there's 3 guys firing at him. We know we're going to kill him, and you're right behind me, and you shoot an artillery shell into the back of my tank. No bueno. It's time for battle number 3 on Cliff between Game Over and the Cazadores, or excuse me, on Mines between Game Over and the Cazadores. Not on Cliff, but on Mines, the map that the Cazadores loves to play.
Yeah, they love this and Abby as well, so I'm fully expecting to see Abby tonight.
And what do we have for tanks?
Yes, 2 5100s, T-32, Pershing, T-69 for the Cazadores. Very heavy lineup. On the other side, 2 T-69s, 2 1390s, and a WZ-132.
Kufo on the WZ-132 will be my focus.
Yeah, he's got the 85, by the way.
And look, not going hill. They're going waterside.
We, of course, love to see waterside play. It's a great alternate way to play this map. This breaks the new meta for the map, by the way. Almost everyone this season has gone just to the hill. Gigmaster, though, out towards the water. Will he get caught out early? Kufo's looking for that shot.
3 shots fired and missed, but Kufo leads the target and gets the hit. Nice job by him, the WC-132.
All he has to do is make that 1 shot count, and it's only a T1. You only need the 1 hit.
1390. Oh, 5100 from far away. Mega Monero gets a big hit on Kufo at 769. He falls back behind the rocks, and the other 1390s are pushing up. Logos, and who's with them? Helio X and the 1390s.
So the counter positioning out of Game Over. Gendorfo is respecting the hill. Not quite right in this situation, guys. Think about it. This is waterside play, but the Cazadores haven't actually had a lot of tanks spotted. Only Kufo out there has been spotted under 1390. So, because of that, Cazadores could still reasonably be below the hill. And because of this, you see Rafa Beta and Gendorfo and Taking Daka respecting the hill still. They're not going to get caught out in a crossfire under the hill. Because from the west side, you can fire into the backs of tanks attempting to approach the hill. Game Over knows this, and because of that, they're backing off. They're to the east of the 5 line, and they have some decent shots out to the west. 3 tanks, though, don't want to take too big of a risk. And I'm waiting to see what the counter move out of Game Over will be. I'm clicking around looking at Nip 100 moving out of his position. Mega Monero is going to also leave his position. They don't want to get pinned. There's a lot of potential crossfire between the hill and the water side. And because of that, got to get out of there. You don't want to get caught down. This is a Game Over, really respecting the potential of Cazadores. We know Cazadores have a really high. When they play great, they play fantastically, but also they can be unpredictably low, and sometimes they make mistakes. But we don't know which one we're seeing today. It looks like the high for Cazadores. They're looking great today. They played fantastic on Ensk. Now on Cliff, they did get beat out, but it was still very close.
They've taken their T-69s to the Charlie 4 placement next to the rocks above the beach. The T1 is going waterside again, and the other T1 is at Wattheim. It is. Wattheim is going to see the movement around to the east side, but hugging the hill.
Oh, he spotted it?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay, he will.
The T1 is able to see him first and get the kill, and they do see each other. Will they start the engagement?
Oh, Ariador has not seen the other T1. Wattheim still remains unspotted. And on the hill, I see a light tank on approach. That's going to be right above Tanking Daka. Who will it be? Shots fired, actually, from the Tanking Daka.
It's not Logos. It's Kufo, the WZ-132.
Yeah. And shots fired from Gendorfo and Rafa Beta. No connections, though. Kufo, though, is down to 769. That's the first time that is revealed to Game Over. They didn't know he'd taken that hit. I think when the shot landed on him, he was actually in the dark. So that's a really nice confirmation for Game Over. And with that, they are actually a little bit pinned on the east.
Well, the opening is there for the 1390s on the south, and they are moving across the beach.
Oh, man.
Logos and Helio X.
Oh, but hits out of, I think, Nip 100 and Mega Monero do connect with Kufo, taking him down to just under half health. Big hits right there, although there are 1390s slightly to the southwest, and if these 5100s are on reload, then if the 1390s come in, they're going to get free kills. However, we don't know if they're reloaded. I don't know if Nip 100 and Mega Monero are reloaded right now, or if they are clipping. I think, no, Nip is not reloading. He fires on the SS-20, gets a nice hit down to 1076.
1390s could push up at any time against those 5100s to break away the turrets. Even if they're not at full drums, the 5100s do have enough firepower to take down at least one of these 1390s if they have probably at least 2 shots or 3 shots each.
And
But
strong positional play out of the Cazadores on the hill could complement that 1390 attack and just really destroy those 5100s in a matter of seconds. T-69s, I mean, 2 seconds between shells, between 2 of them, they can put out quite a bit of damage onto a 5100 if Nip couldn't get to cover in time.
Fire was coming from one of the Pershings or T-32 towards the 1390. One T-32 on the
Oh, I didn't even realize they'd spotted those tanks. Rafa Beta and Tanky Daka are looking southwest.
All big shots coming from Logos and Helio X. Helio X gets hit. Another volley goes into the side of Mega Monero, down to 411. Targeting fire happening on Nip 100 from shots above on the hill.
Oh, Mega Monero down to 146. One more hit onto him. No, there are no hits, but Nip 100 and Mega Monero are putting out plenty of fire. Nip breaks cover and runs into the open. Mega Monero will follow, but Mega Monero is completely exposed. Will anyone get a shot onto him? Kufo looks to be going for it. He may just make it. Kufo out in the open takes a hit, but yes, he takes down Mega Monero. There's a tier 8 dead.
Great shot from Kufo. And Helio X, Logos still pinned a bit by the T-32 and the Pershing. The rest of the heavy tanks are next to the hillside. That is going to be a complete opening for the lights to move in for the flag cap.
Wattheim is finally spotted in the T1, and Ariador is going to break cover into the open looking for it. Kufo is spotted. Rafa Beta may look for that shot if Kufo gets too aggressive. There's the cap pressure now. Logo spotted on cap. Shots fired, no connections. Rafa Beta, some dirt takes damage next to him. Tanking, oh, there's the T1. Wattheim finally goes down. That opens up the cap for Cazadores. We could see counter cap pressure. Tanking Daka is now moving forward. He doesn't even care in his T-32, and he's looking for shots on the Heliox. Heliox breaks spot cover, takes a few hits out there, but he still has those cap points. C1 spotted, and everyone is going to be hiding on cap. This is not a good situation for a game over. They have to walk through a real gauntlet to get to the cap. Thugcry putting shots into the back of Tanky Daka. A track shot. More bounces, though. Not able to connect with this really heavily armored T-32. And there's the delay in cap. 32 seconds left. Logos leaves the cap.
This is tough. This is tough now for Cazadores because they have less HP compared to the powerhouse T-32 and T-69s, especially Gandorfo in full health. And they're going to back up. They're going to actually play the clock a little bit more to their favor with 3 minutes left. And game over is going to be back to square one from their side of the map, except for one tank, and that's that T1 going to the very north.
Yeah, that's Ariador. He is making his way there. He's not going to have anyone to screen cap for him, though. He may bait some 1390s back, but they could get a free T1 if they're not smart about it. Ariador does need to be protected in this situation, but we see Tanking Daka still back at base. He will be the defender. Cap has begun. Nip 100 is making his way to cover the base, and behind him, Rafa Beta and the Pershing. Gandorfo at full health, by the way, in the T-69.
Steam on the mines. Hill section.
No, Nip found Thug's Cry.
Oh no, that's a big hit. That's a big blow. Now it's down to 3 tier 8s versus 4, and one of them is at 232 HP. The other one at half.
A low roll from a T-69 could keep him alive for a little bit. He could get out a little damage, but because Gandorfo is on the way to the hill, I think he will be the one to engage that T-69 Cess. That is Cess on the hill. Nip turns around, looks for that T-69, makes a hit, finishes him off.
Now it's just a Helio X and Logos. A minute left, less than a minute left on the flag cap. Flag's going to be completely covered by this 5100 and the T-69s.
There's a huge spread, though, by game over. These two 1390s could make some work happen. And Nip has fired 3 shells so far from what I've counted. Now he's got 2 left. Logos will be able to finish off Ariador. And he will, zeroing his shot very well, not to waste anything. Can't afford to waste any shells. Rafa Beta is going to fall off the hill, actually, take a little damage, and he's hunting for Heliox. But he's out in the open. Heliox has cover, and Heliox is going to get free damage onto Rafa Beta. 1 hit into him, down 503.
Misses
a second.
Shot.
Yeah,
gets another one.
1 more. That's all he needs.
Misses the second one. Helio X being a little bit impatient.
And if he'd made now 59 seconds left in the battle, he can finish off Rafa Beta and Tanking Daka. No, actually, I don't think he can finish him off.
Another miss from Helio, and Taking Dock on the T-32 cruises around on the flank side.
Now Helix can't finish him off. On the other side of the match, Gandorfo is chasing Logos. Logos 297, playing ring around the rock, and Nip zeros. Logos misses. Gandorfo maybe on, and Nip gets the kill.
Rafa Beta down to 11 HP versus a 24 HP 1390.
30 seconds
with
left.
no shots left, I believe, maybe one. He tries to line it up. No, Rafa Beta gets the kill. With 23 seconds on the board, Game Over is up in the series 2-1 against the Cazadores.
Really close.
Really good firefight between these two teams. I liked what the Cazadores did by getting coverage and map control on the water side and then falling back once they knew they could not completely move in. The pincer attack on both sides against those 5100s worked for a little bit, but they moved to the rest of their tanks. They moved to where it was safer, and they had enough HP to do so. They lost one of them with Kufo, but that T-32 and that Pershing from across the way was biting back against those 1390s.
Yeah, and the crucial bounces on the T-32. T-32 troll armor this time. If he had not bounced the shots that he had, he would have gone down. That would have been a completely different battle. Without that T-32, you have very easily a Cazadores win. Just to show you guys how close it was. Just so very close. The
hits received on the T-32, 10. Penetrations, 8. Non-penetration, 2. Potential damage received, 2,400. Multiple shots against this tank, but 2 of them at least not penetrating.
Yeah. That's just how close it is. You look, Logos got 1,800 damage, and on the top of his team, on the other side, 1,800 from Mega Monero. Just very little things change this from a win to a loss. Just the damage is so close, and it might just be the health pool for Game Over that won it. Yeah, I think that really could be it. You've got a huge health pool for Game Over. Cazadores just don't have the health pool to compete, and even though they got almost the same amount of damage, you could see that 4 tanks are still alive. So as far as just bringing heavier tanks, it really actually worked on mines, whereas mobility usually works a little bit better on mines. I know 1390s have such a high potential for performance on mines. But maybe it's the hill. I think the hill might have been nerfed, Clutch. I think that might have been it.
It's a possibility, but Cazadores wanted to do something different compared to going to the center. Yeah. And it worked for a little bit, but the defensive play, the counter play from Game Over, putting those 5100s back and staying there next to the flag cap, not leaving it completely exposed, was smart. Yeah. It was smart. And if you have a full commitment too much to the south, then you go on the flag cap. There's not a lot of cover there.
Yeah, well, the thing is, when Game Over gave up so much ground, I was feeling like Cazadores, when they moved in, they took the hill, they had the west side, that there was such a potential for crossfire that Game Over wasn't in a position to compete with that. But it looks like their health pool was able to save them, and they didn't take a lot of damage. Our next map will be Abbey, though. Cazadores are falling back on their tried and true map, their favorite one, I think, Abbey. And I'm calling it right here, east side from Cazadores, am I right? Just every time.
I'll agree with you here, but multiple strategies are always best rather than just one, especially for your opponents to be surprised. So we asked the Cazadores a couple days ago what was their favorite map and if they had different strategies, and then they said, yes, we do. We have different strategies we'd like to show and execute, but we want to go with what works, and you can't blame them. If it works and it goes for the win, of course, use it in that scenario, and that's what we've seen so far. But I feel because of the approach Game Over is bringing to this series by having studied Cazadores, seeing what their victories have brought them on each and every map and the one victory they've had so far, and even some of the approaches they've brought in some of the battles they've won, Game Over, I feel, is very, very prepared against them. And what do we have for the potential push on Abbey?
Okay, so I've decided to show you guys the opening move from the Cazadores. They're going to probably send someone right at the middle. He's going to loop back around, and he's going to chill out in right in Echo 8. And that's usually the lineup we see out of the Cazadores. Now, they could decide not to do this, but that's usually what they do. Now, what's the response out of Game Over? You know your opponent's going to do this, right? So maybe you take the Abbey, right? That seems like a good idea. But no, actually, it could get shut down by great crossfires from the east. Cazadores have a solid position. It's very difficult to assail. We'll have to see what Game Over brings on Abbey.
Let's get into it. Battle number 4 on Abbey. Game Over versus the Cazadores in the battle for South America.
And taking a look at the tanks, we see 5100, 2 T-69s, and 2 1390s. For the side of Game Over, on the side of Cazadores, we see 2 T-69s and 3 1390s. So this looks pretty normal for the Cazadores. Game over. Nothing out of the ordinary for tank choices. I'm guessing west side.
Strong possibility. Cazadores will be spawning to the south.
But
and
I'm
the red
wrong.
to the north. And the blue will be game over. And what is this?
I'm wrong, Clutch. They're going to the east. They're going to try and counter out the Cazadores play with a blitz, just to get the fight going, maybe catch Kufo as he leads the group. But also, Cazadores aren't doing what they usually do.
No, they're not. They are going up the center side towards the western part of the Abbey. Helio X leading the charge in the 1390. He's going to use the different buildings as cover not to get spotted as they move up close. This could be a reset happening, though, if Game Over continues to push down to the south and they don't spot anything, nothing on the side of the Cazadores. They're hugging that water and continually moving up to the west.
This is really, really smart meta game. They know that Game Over is expecting that move. They're expecting that east side play, and now that they do not see it, because all guns from Game Over are trained to the south. They're expecting Cazadores to come from the south. They have prepared a trap, a counterplay, and it doesn't look like Cazadores is going to play into it. Love this out of Cazadores. This is really smart. They're actually kind of playing Cazadores strat from the north. They're going to be taking up a lot of those positions. Now, Cazadores is in that western part. Are they going to move into the north yet?
Not yet. This is the question. Where do they go from here? If they're expecting a T1 to be back in the flag cap area that scouts them before they see it, they want, in their mind, are thinking that Game Over needs to overcommit to the south. And once they spot one of the tanks in the south where their T1 is, and that's either Thug's Cry or, yes, it's Thug's Cry, once he scouts one of the T1s in that area, they need to go for the flag cap or at least pull a trigger somewhere. Yeah. But they're not seeing anything yet, and now that position of Game Over is really close to turning the corner and trying to find something to the south for information. They have not spotted anything yet. Neither team has. Now, Cazadores are moving up to the north.
Yep. Gigmaster is all the way to the south now. He's almost at his opponent's cap, and he doesn't really have much support right now, but Game Over's trying not to risk too much. Goes for some proxy spotting. Gigmaster not able to find anything in any of the bushes above him, and he looks to go towards the ramp. He's the main scout right now for Game Over. He's going to look to other tanks. Got tanks moving to the south. That is the T-69s and Gandorfo in the 5100, but NIP 100 is in a very traditional spot that Cazadores take up in their 1390. But he's not able to spot anything. He looks out towards the west. No spotting yet.
Wait. Cazadores are now approaching the midsection of the Abbey, this time going back towards their flag cap. But they haven't gone over to the east. Still no discovery yet. They're going to move towards the center. Logos leading the charge now, and he's looking for something to shoot.
Oh, what timing. We actually have tanking Daka. Might be caught out if someone above him is able to get shots down. No, he barely leaves in time, and he almost spots members of Cazadores, but they're in the low ground now. That can't be so. Tanking Daka is so close. He's inches from backing up far enough to get some spotting. 1390s right below the Abbey are looking at the Cazadores cap. Cazadores are in such a great position to defend their cap if Game Over decides to put that pressure on to get on the cap, put their tanks out there.
Still no flag
but
cap
spotting
pressure on the
Cess
north.
and Jonah are spotted shots into Nip 100 down to 824. Tanking Daka fizzles a shot on his tracks. Now Nip is able to return some fire. Here's some tracking, but not much more damage being traded. On the high ground, though, in the Cazadores base, there are tanks looking at the Abbey. Logos is spotted.
Logos trying to line up a shot from way far away. He gets hit twice, though. He's going to have to back out. T-69's had him locked in. He's done 164, barely misses a shot that would have killed him. And now
but
the
in
flag
the
cap
Abbey,
happens.
there's another fight. Nip 100 versus Heliox and Cess on tanking Daka. Nip is down to 34 hit points. He's taken down, but in response, Nip 100, Heliox down, tanking Daka 131. Jonah 2 is able to finish off 1390 advantage win in the Abbey, but there is cap pressure happening. Rafa, Beta, Gandorfo are on cap, and there's fire being traded, but in the north, there is cap.
Logos fell. He went down to Eridor, and he was trying to keep that reset going. Now 3 tanks on the bottom. On the red cap with 16 seconds left. Can any of these tanks get there in time? T-69's cruising there fast. Cess 28, the closest one to get that reset. 8 seconds left. 7, 6, 5 seconds left for Game Over to win this series between Cazadores.
He's not going to be able to make it.
And it's a flag cap. Game Over is able to win the series 3-1 against the Cazadores. In a surprising fashion on Abbey, the Cazadores went towards the western side with an approach that no team saw each other. But once they reached the north, they knew, wait, we've got to go back. This doesn't feel right. They must have taken the other side. It was too late. Game Over was in such a great position to stop any type of return coming from the Cazadores, and it was GG from there.
Yeah, just amazing play from Game Over. Really risky. Cazadores playing a new strat. It almost worked for them. They won in the Abbey. They won that fight. They overmatched on 21390s, but the cap was too good. 5100 is too good at shielding on the cap. A T1 was able to get enough cap points. Another one did go down, but no matter what, I think Game Over wins that one. Just well played by Game Over on that.
And they get another win under their belts. The Cazadores, unfortunately, another loss. And so Game Over is 1-0 over the Cazadores in the battle for South America in the Gold League. But I believe a rematch will probably happen soon. That does it for our first series. Our next series will be Simp versus Pubstars. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more World of Tanks action for the Wargaming.net Gold League. Stay tuned.